Now that we've got to establish this idea of the floor plan, you know what it looks like looking down on it, our space relationship between terraces and bedrooms and things, okay? Our relationship to the surrounding environment, okay? Now we also have we've got the front view, which we just completed. So we know what it looks like if you're looking at this from this view. The next level of views we're going to look at is the perspective view, okay? And I picked this drawing here because I thought it was very, just a really nice drawing. There's been a lot of drawings, a lot of photography of the falling water. If you look up falling water house on the internet, you'll see just a lot of images and a lot of different ways of looking at this structure. But I thought this would be just a really nice way to look at this. Now we're back to doing a perspective. Let's see here. So if we're looking at this, if you look at the fact that we can see since we can see the bottom of the ceiling, that means we're looking up at it this way. So we can draw our horizon line, remember? And we've got these points out here on the horizon line. But because we're looking up at it, these lines are going to be projected this way, right? Because we're down here. This is our sight, our line sight. This is what this is our face looking up this way. We're looking up at the bottom. So this is these lines then converge down like this to that horizon line. So we got this. So we can draw the first terrace in. There's our first terrace. We've got another terrace up here. And you can see here in the picture, you have these looks like structure or windows in here. And we just put a few little lines in here, indicate that that's the edge of the wall. These are probably screens that open up. Frank Lloyd Wright had this, again, because he was so enamored with nature and showing nature, there's a lot of windows in his structures. So again, these lines, again, go back to our horizon, or excuse me, our vanishing points back here, create a perspective. We've got another structure up here. This goes straight down. And I know it's very challenging, very complex, but it's kind of like a puzzle when you're drawing a piece of architecture, because you're putting all these little pieces together. Again, you can see those little pieces of structure down here. So these are awfully going back to this way. So in your mind, you're always connecting these lines with this furthermost vanishing point, and that keeps it looking really. So you get these very nice light construction lines on your piece of architecture. Actually, the horizon for this one, it looks like it's the top actually of the waterfall. So we can bring that waterfall in here. And you've got a little bit of this. There's a rock here and some plants. Just lightly dust those in. Here's our waterfall. We draw in some rocks, and we just want to draw the rocks in things very, very lightly because we don't want them to be the main part of the drawing. And then we've got a big, sort of looks like bushes or things over here. And sometimes you just have to draw these things and sort of just kind of quick looking. And so we got this. The other thing which is interesting, if you look closely, Frank Lloyd Wright's work, he's always got planters. He loves to overhang plants in his pieces of artwork. Okay, so you got these plants that hang down. These can be on the outside of the terrace. And we can start to darken in maybe this wall here a little bit. Some structure back here. There's a tree behind it. And just sort of indicate this tree, maybe a couple limbs inside. And so you don't lose track of it. You can actually put in, and again, just like I taught you before about doing shadowing things. Here's his walls. Actually, his walls go back inside here. So even my textures, like this is the textural part here, even my textures actually align again with this here. So you put your light construction lines in, your perspective lines, right? And then you come back in, just like we did top before. And you can actually then, you just sort of darken these pieces here. This terrace looks like it's actually sitting on, could be sitting on top of a rock, because that's something Frank Lloyd Wright would do. He would actually have the nature very integrated into his pieces of artwork, or pieces of his architecture. Again, this vanishing point here. Like I said, it's like a puzzle. It's very complex. I think it's a basic sketch. Use your sense of contrast. Always moving your lines. Again, I picked this direction here, so all my dark lines will be going this one direction. And again, this is in the middle of a forest, really. So here's your water. Here's your that waterfall, your rocks, and again, it's the middle. When you see a picture of this in the first page, you'll see there's all kinds of, there's trees behind it. So what we'd do, we'd actually put the trees in behind it, but do it very lightly, okay? Because we don't want those to be dominant in the drawing. What we want to dominate in the drawing is this structure, and we can outline it here. Here's some plants overflowing a little bit on the terrace, darken around the outside, and again, not a bad little piece of architecture drawing. Okay, again, basically looking at our falling water imagery here, and don't forget your perspective lines always have to be created this way, and some nice dark areas to kind of just make it punch. And again, I recommend you look on the internet at Falling Water. It's a very interesting house. Again, it's one of the premier houses in our country in terms of examples of architecture, and specifically Frank Lloyd Wright. Our next project will be another Frank Lloyd Wright house in Los Angeles.